1, 2, 1, 2. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, we'll shortly be starting our ceremony, and we would be much obliged if you could switch off your mobile phones during the official part of this event. Or if really unavoidable, please make sure that your telephones are placed on the silent mode. Thank you very much, distingués invités, mesdames et messieurs. Nous allons bientôt démarrer notre cérémonie protocolaire dans quelques instants, et nous vous serions obligés de bien vouloir éteindre vos téléphones portables pendant toute la partie protocolaire. C'est très gênant de parler pendant que des téléphones sonnent dans l'assistance. Ou à défaut de les mettre sur le mode de silence, s'il vous plaît. D'avance, je vous remercie. Adejumobi. Ah. So, ladies and gentlemen, our main delegates are arriving. Again, a call for your mobile phones, so you could switch them off during the official ceremony, the opening ceremony this morning. And if really unavoidable, please place them on the silent mode, so you have about maybe a few minutes to send your last SMSs and messages and WhatsApps, so whatever. Distingués invités, dernier appel pour les téléphones portables, s'il vous plaît. Nous allons, nos délégués commencent à arriver et nous allons, dans quelques instants, nous allons commencer et nous serions obligés de bien vouloir éteindre vos portables ou alors de les mettre sur le mode silence. Merci beaucoup. For those of you who are French-speaking, we would like to inform you that you have simultaneous translation facilities. So all you have to do is collect a headset and a little translation pack, and please use them. So English is channel 1 and French will be on channel 2. Pour ceux d'entre vous qui sont francophones, entièrement francophones, et nous voudrions vous dire que nous avons un service de traduction simultanée qui vous sera offert pendant toute la semaine, et vous pouvez récupérer vos petits appareils. Certains sont déjà sur les tables. Donc le canal 1 sera en anglais et le canal 2 le français. Voilà, merci. A short, quick announcement for the media people. If you are visiting us, we have a media center which is in the business center downstairs. So you go down the steps in the main lobby, go down the steps and it's on your right, first door on the left, sorry, the first door on the left. You have a business center where you have internet facilities, photocopying machines, everything that might be helpful to you for your work during this conference. So you have a media center down the steps, first door on the left. Nous avons un centre de presse qui a été aménagé dans le petit bureau au rez-de-chaussée. Donc vous descendez l'escalier à la réception, vous descendez l'escalier, la première porte à gauche a été aménagée en centre de presse pour permettre aux correspondants étrangers de faire leur travail dans les meilleures conditions possibles. Vous avez une liaison Internet et bien entendu des facilités de photocopie, etc. Merci. Because I Ladies and gentlemen, this is our last call for your mobile phones, please. Thank you very much to switch them off. Merci, mesdames et messieurs. Dernier appel pour vos téléphones portables, s'il vous plaît. Si vous voulez bien les éteindre ou les mettre sur le mode silence. Merci. The Honourable Vishnu Lakshminaraydu, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade, Honourable Ministers of the National Assembly, the Secretary to the Cabinet and heads of the Civil Service, the Financial Secretary, Senior Chief Executives, Chiefs of Staff, Permanent Secretaries of the Public Sector, Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps and representatives of the international and regional organizations in Mauritius, Permanent Secretaries and Ambassadors. A very special welcome to our foreign delegates attending the conference, and we greet on the top table next to me from UNECA, Professor Said Adejumobi, Regional Director for Southern Africa, the Chairman, the representative of the Chairman of the 23rd ICE Committee from Zimbabwe, the representative of the African Union Commission, Dr. Auguste Ngomo, and the UN Resident Coordinator in Mauritius. A special welcome to all of the overseas participants who have made the trip to attend this 24th meeting. We sincerely hope that their stay in our midst will prove successful, fruitful, and most of all, enjoyable. Directors and members of the local and foreign print and online press, radios, and national television, distinguished guests, all protocol observed. A very good morning and warm welcome to you all. My name is Gérard Manuel, and I will have the privilege of acting as your Master of Ceremony for the opening of the 24th Annual UNECA ICE meeting in Le Méridien Balaclava, Mauritius. I thank the Ministry of Finance for their renewed trust in having me this morning. This meeting will extend over the whole week with a very rich agenda to discuss the key issues pertaining to the economic and social development of each of the 11 member countries that comprise the Inter-Governmental Committee, ICE, statutory organ of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA. The main theme of this 24th meeting will be that of the blue economy, inclusive industrialization and economic development in Southern Africa. During the next few days, the discussants will also debate on the role of the small and medium-scale enterprises in the industrialization process in Southern Africa. The work programs during the week will take the format of paper presentations, high-level roundtable discussions at ministerial level, as well as panel discussions, and finally, report presentations. Distinguished guests, let me now submit the stand to our first speaker of the day for his opening speech. Please join me in welcoming Professor Said Adejumobi, Director of UNECA at the Southern African Office. Professor, please.
The special guest of honor and the keynote speaker of this occasion, Honorable Vishnu Setana Luchmanaraido. The Honorable Minister said, "You cannot pronounce my name. Please don't try." Honorable Minister, if I've not done it well, please kindly excuse me. Other ministers present, the Financial Secretary, Ministry of Finance and Economic Development, Mr. D.D. Manraj, Permanent Secretaries and Senior Government Officials present, the UN Resident Coordinator, Christine Mutoni, who we're expecting and who is not here yet, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors and members of the Diplomatic Corps, the African Union Regional Delegate for Southern Africa, Dr. Auguste Ngomo, the representatives of SADC and COMESA, representatives of the private sector, civil society, academia, and research institutions, dear UN colleagues, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I would like to warmly welcome you all to this 24th session of the Inter-Governmental Committee of Experts meeting for Southern Africa under the theme, The Blue Economy, Inclusive Industrialization, and Economic Development in Southern Africa. This is a meeting of senior officials of government and other key stakeholders in the region, through which they deliberate on key development issues of importance and profile policy recommendations which inform the strategic programming of the work of our office in ECA Southern Africa. At the onset, let me express our profound gratitude to the government and people of Mauritius for hosting this statutory meeting this year and for providing us with invaluable support and hospitality in the organization of the meeting. In particular, I would like to thank the Inter-Governmental Committee led by the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development that supported the hosting of this meeting. Specifically, I would like to express our deep sense of appreciation to the Acting Senior Chief Executive in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development of Mauritius, Mr. Vidyanand Luchmerazad, the Deputy Permanent Secretary, and Mr. Anid Kokil, Director of Finance and Economy, and all other colleagues in the ministry for their support, dedication, and commitment towards the organization of this important meeting. Also, I would like to use this opportunity to thank the outgoing Chair of Zimbabwe for hosting the 23rd session of the ICE in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe in 2017. The topic of the 21st ICE session highlights three important concepts: blue economy, inclusive industrialization, and economic development, which are closely interrelated. The blue economy, which some refer to as the ocean economy, is what I often call Africa's hidden treasure, and the African Union hails it as the new frontier of African Renaissance. This consists of the vast area of coastal water and maritime resources, which could serve as sources of food, energy, mineral extraction, leisure, good health, science, innovation, and technology. Indeed, our livelihood and existence are intricately linked with the coastal ecosystem, which affects various aspects of our socioeconomic life. As the President of Seychelles, then Vice President, His Excellency Danny Fure noted, and I quote, "The blue economy encapsulating all of the potentials of our oceanic resources offers us a platform for Africa's transformation, both in terms of Agenda 2063 and post-2015 development agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals. The majority of world trade is by the sea. The majority of world oil shipments are by the sea. There's no food security without a sustainable ocean. The majority of new mineral resources will not be found on land, but in the sea. The blue economy is Africa's future." I fully agree with the President. While Africa is essentially a coastal region, in which it is estimated that about 38 countries are coastal states, apart from the island countries, mostly in Southern Africa, with vast ocean territories, yet our coastal sector remains largely underdeveloped, underutilized, and poorly governed, which has enabled other forces from outside the continent to benefit more from our oceanic resources than us. The concept of the blue economy or blue growth, which seems relatively new, was first raised during the United Nations Conference on Sustainable Development held in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil in 2012. While at that time it was essentially a developing world initiative pioneered by small island developing states, including our host country Mauritius, however, the concept has assumed greater importance and popularity on a global scale, relevant not only to coastal countries, but also to landlocked and land-linked countries, which constitute part of the production networks and value chain of the blue economy sector. The blue economy can be the engine of economic growth, the basis of socioeconomic development and industrialization for many African countries, if well utilized. The maritime industry, for example, is estimated at over $1 trillion, and there are other related and emerging sectors like tourism, offshore renewable energy, aquaculture, seabed extractive industries, maritime biotechnology, and bioprospecting. In China, for example, The ocean economy contributed $962 billion, or 10% of its GDP, and employed over 9 million people in 2014. In the United States of America, the ocean economy was valued at about $258 billion, or 1.8% of its GDP in 2010. And in Indonesia, the ocean economy contributed about 20% of its GDP, which is similar to the ratio of other middle-income countries, other middle-income oceanic countries. While other countries and regions are harvesting the gains and returns from the blue economy, Africa is not doing so. West Africa, for example, is estimated to be losing about $2 billion annually to illegal fishing in its waters. It is worthy of note that a number of Southern African countries have developed strategic plans and development blueprints to transform their blue economy sector. For example, South Africa has the famous Operation Pakisa, which aims to address 4 critical sectors of transport and manufacturing, offshore oil and gas, aquaculture, and protection and governance. South Africa hopes to grow its blue economy sector from 54 billion rands and 316,000 jobs in 2010 to 177 billion rands and about 1 million jobs by 2033. This is quite remarkable. Seychelles has developed a national blue economy roadmap through which it seeks to accelerate economic growth and diversification, while our host nation, Mauritius, has the Vision 2030, which provides an overall development framework including on the blue economy sector. However, the blue economy is a very complex and dynamic sector with various challenges and risks, which require more of collective action, cooperation, partnerships, and regional frameworks in order for us to effectively address it. Some of the associated challenges and risks of the blue economy include issues of governance and security of the ocean, piracy and terrorism, climate change, ocean environmental sustainability, poor infrastructure and technology, effective production connectivity with land-linked and landlocked countries, financing, and poor technical skills and capacity. It is heartening to know that some regional bodies are already taking necessary actions in this regard. The African Union, in Agenda 2063, explicitly alludes to the strategic advantage of the blue economy in the process of economic transformation in Africa. Hence, amongst others, the 2050 Africa Integrated Maritime Strategy was developed. The SADC Secretariat, through its Industrialization Strategy and Roadmap of 2015 to 2063, as well as the revised Regional Indicative Strategic Development Plan 2015-2020, identified the blue economy as a key area for fostering sustainable development in the region. Linking industrialization with the blue economy at the regional level enables the promotion of regional value chain approach to industrialization. While the Indian Ocean Commission, OIC, and the Indian Ocean Rim Association have also developed cooperation initiatives and strategies for their members. However, more needs to be done at the regional level in the transformation of the blue economy sector through an integrated and holistic approach. We at the ECA recognize the immense potentials of the blue economy for fostering industrial growth and economic development in Africa and in its regions, and are fully committed to supporting the African Union, the regional economic communities and member states through our research and analytical work, advocacy and awareness-raising activities, technical assistance and capacity development in achieving tangible results. This forum is meant to serve that purpose of furthering debate and discussion and policy articulation by member states in the region on this issue. Honorable Minister, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the ocean economy, as noted by a senior official of government in Guinea-Bissau, Cipriano Gomez, noted, and I quote, "The blue economy should not be a problem, but a space for solutions. It should be a space to advance economic production, create jobs, alleviate poverty, encourage small and medium-scale enterprises to participate in it, and ultimately create a better society where no one will be left behind." Also, as Donald Kaberuka, the former president of the African Development Bank, also rightly noted, and I quote, "We have a right as a continent to benefit from our terrestrial and maritime resources. There is a commercial case to be made for choosing to support the development of Africa's blue economies." I am optimistic that with the caliber of people gathered here today, consisting of senior policymakers, leading practitioners and experts, private sector operators, civil society actors, regional and international development agencies, including development financial institutions, I'm optimistic that we'll have fruitful deliberations which different stakeholders, including our member states, the African Union, SADC, and COMESA, could take forward towards the economic transformation and sustainable development of our region. In closing, let me thank the organizing team made up of government officials from the different ministries and staff of my office for the tireless efforts in putting this meeting together. We do appreciate you, and the region is indeed very grateful to you. Without much ado, it's my pleasure and honor to invite the outgoing chairperson of the ICE, Zimbabwe, to take the floor for his opening remarks. I thank you for your kind attention, and may God bless Africa.
Honorable ministers here present, and I would like to give my special welcome to the guest of honor, the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration, and International Trade in the government of Mauritius. I'll also not hazard to mention his full name. But during the course of this conference, I'll practice so that I can fully articulate his name. Permanent secretaries and senior government officials are here present. The director of the ECA, Sub-Regional Office for Southern Africa, representatives of other UN organizations, representatives of the African Union Commission, representatives of the EAC, COMESA, and SADC, representatives of other development partners, distinguished delegates, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is my singular honor and privilege to address this 24th session of the Inter-Governmental Committee of Experts, ICE, of Southern Africa, on behalf of the Secretary for Finance and Economic Development for Zimbabwe, Mr. W.L. Manungo, who cannot be with us today because of other pressing commitments. On behalf of the government of Zimbabwe, and indeed on my own behalf, I wish to join other dignitaries in extending my warm welcome to you all to this meeting. I bring you special greetings from Zimbabwe, especially from the newly appointed Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Honorable Professor Mthuli Ncube, Mr. Manungo as the outgoing chair, and other senior government officials who attended the 23rd session of the ICE in Bulawayo in October 2017. The Honorable Minister sends his sincere wishes for a successful 24th session and looks forward to the outcomes and recommendations. Let me also take this opportunity to congratulate the government of the Republic of Mauritius and its people for successfully organizing this very important meeting in the wake of the Economic Commission for Africa in Southern Africa, and for assuming the chairmanship of the Bureau of the ICE of the region. My appreciation also goes to the regional member states, the regional economic communities, the ECA, Sub-Regional Office for Southern Africa, and all the delegates and the participants for the confidence you bestowed upon Zimbabwe in 2017 to be chairperson of the Bureau. Together with Lesotho and Namibia, the Bureau was honored to be of service to member states during the last 12 months and worked closely with the Secretariat in monitoring progress on program delivery. As we discuss the blue economy today, I am particularly pleased to observe that industrialization and strengthening regional integration remain our rallying points in Southern Africa, as we endeavor to extricate ourselves from poverty and underdevelopment. It is also pleasing to note that our political leaders continue to reaffirm the pivotal role of industrialization as an anchor for development and their unflinching commitment to pushing the agenda through the action plan of the SADC Regional Industrialization Strategy and Roadmap. At the continental level, the adoption in Kigali in early February this year of the African Continental Free Trade Area will further buttress and accelerate the integration agenda through boosting industrialization and trade by complementing efforts under the tripartite free trade area. As we observed during our deliberations last year, the low levels of trade amongst ourselves and between Africa and the rest of the world remain a concern. Equally worrying is the nature of exports from the continent, mainly semi-processed products, due to limited value addition, and this compromises the levels of benefits from trade. In this regard, front-loading industrialization as a platform for value addition and beneficiation, the development of domestic linkages, and the creation of jobs is imperative, and the blue economy can anchor such endeavors through its various development levers, many of which we will interrogate during this ICE meeting. We need to redouble our efforts on the industrialization milestones to achieve both the SDG goals and the aspirations in Agenda 2063. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, in accomplishing our mandate as your Bureau, we were ably supported by the ECA Sub-Regional Office for Southern Africa, with whose assistance we provided policy perspectives and recommendations through an outcome statement issued and adopted following our 23rd ICE in Bulawayo in October 2017. Many of you will recall that at the same meeting, the theme of our 24th session, the blue economy, inclusive industrialization, and economic development in Southern Africa, was proposed and agreed upon. The theme was further refined and reaffirmed following additional consultations with our host, Mauritius, and with your Bureau. As you are aware, the blue economy concept encompasses all the productive activities which develop or directly derive their source from maritime, ocean, and coastal environments, and from the aquatic and mainland areas, rivers, lakes, or other watercourses and groundwater. Hence, the blue economy has been declared as the new frontier for African renaissance by the African Union, as a resource whose exploitation should be managed to achieve sustainable development, integrated management, enhanced protection of the environment and ecosystems, development of value chains, and should contribute to structural transformation, job creation, poverty reduction, and the improvement in the social conditions of citizens. As you are aware, the concept of the blue economy is elaborated in the AU, Africa's 2050 Integrated Maritime Strategy, is aligned with the aspirations of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Specifically, SDG 14 on conservation and sustainable use of oceans, seas, and marine resources. And thus, these productive activities, if well managed, can contribute to the continent's economic takeoff and transformation. The blue economy opportunities include sea, inland waterway, and lake trade and transport activities, port activities and industries, fishing and exploitation of fishery resources, mining, oil and gas resources, exploration and extraction, exploitation of renewable marine and hydraulic energies, seaside, inland waterways, and lake tourism. Given the immense and untapped blue economy potential, the African Union encourages states to anchor development of this resource as a path to economic prosperity. And our meeting is geared towards exploring how we can collectively and sustainably derive benefits from the blue economy resources. It is therefore my sincere hope that our deliberations during this ICE will consider deeply the opportunities and challenges presented by the blue economy as a strategic resource that can anchor development in our region and help address poverty, inequality, and unemployment. As we discuss the opportunities offered by the blue economy, we should not lose sight of the fact that the resource is equally important for land-linked and coastal states. We should thus be holistic in the interrogation of issues and in crafting of recommendations. We should, for example, elaborate on how the land-linked states can create dry ports and related infrastructure and connect with the major multimodal transport corridors linking them to coastal states. Furthermore, we should also discuss the importance of developing synergistic and coherent policies among coastal and land-linked countries to create a harmonized environment which allows for equity in benefits from the resource. I strongly believe that for sustainability, the efforts to develop the blue economy must go far beyond the mere development of purely economic activities profitable for the states, but should have inbuilt sustainability frameworks, including those promoting integrated resources management and environmental and ecosystems protection and other socio-economic requirements. Allow me, therefore, to applaud the Secretariat for having provided an excellent platform for us to discuss the technical and operational issues on the blue economy. Honorable Minister, distinguished delegates, your Bureau worked closely with the Secretariat during the last 12 months in delivering on the activities we approved in October 2017. I am pleased to inform you that in addition to carrying out a study on the role of small and medium-scale enterprises in the industrialization process in Southern Africa, which we reviewed during this meeting, the ECA office in Lusaka provided technical assistance to SADC and COMESA and to regional member states towards addressing specific needs and priorities. Allow me to highlight a few of the office's achievements in that regard. Your Secretariat organized a consultative meeting for the Bureau in early May 2018, which reviewed the work of ROSA and discussed operational issues, including how best member states could tap into the technical support available through ECA, as well as how the profile of the ICE could be elevated to enhance the relevance and impact of its recommendations. During that consultative meeting, which was attended by COMESA and SADC, your Bureau reiterated the importance of stronger collaboration with regional economic communities for prioritization and programs and activities, as well as the enhancement of the visibility of ECA at country levels. As your Bureau, we committed to helping elevate the profile of the ICE by mobilizing participation at a high level to anchor the implementation of recommendations. Furthermore, your Secretariat organized policy dialogues, workshops, conferences, and expert meetings on topical issues such as corruption, regional integration, ICT, inclusive growth, and on harnessing the youth dividend. And this provided stakeholders with the opportunity to proffer recommendations to address the challenges and propel regional socio-economic development forward. These activities were in direct response to the request by regional member states. The office continued to provide technical support to SADC and COMESA and to member states in various areas, and will share with us details of their support activities. I urge us to continue to engage ECA for technical support in addressing our individual and collective challenges. Honorable Minister, distinguished delegates and participants, permit me to reiterate our sincere thanks to the government of Mauritius for the hospitality accorded to all delegations since our arrival, and also express the collective appreciation of the various member states' delegations on the facilities made available to them. As I conclude, allow me to once again congratulate the incoming Bureau of the ICE and assure them of the support of Zimbabwe and all other member states in the discharge of their mandate. I personally look forward to fruitful deliberations during the next 3 days as we formulate strategies towards optimizing the development opportunities presented to both oceanic and land-linked countries by the blue economy, as well as introspect on the role of small and medium-scale enterprises in anchoring industrialization in the region. I thank you for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The representative of the outgoing chairperson of the 23rd ICE UNECA meeting last year in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe. The theme was last year trade facilitation in Southern Africa and bridging the infrastructure gap. Hailed by the African Union as the new frontier of African Renaissance, the blue economy and its potential as an economic resource is gaining prominence across the continent. Africa stands to reap maximum benefits by utilizing its seas, oceans, and their resources for sustainable economic development. A substantial part of Africa's economic growth relies on numerous ocean-related activities. Furthermore, the AU's 2050 Africa's Integrated Maritime Strategy, better known as AIM, provides a broad framework for the protection and sustainable exploitation of the Africa's maritime domain, AMD. Its overarching vision is to foster increased wealth creation from Africa's oceans, seas, and inland waters by developing a sustainable, thriving blue economy in a secure and environmentally sustainable manner. The AU's Agenda 2063, the strategic document setting out the continent's socio-economic targets for decades to come, identifies the blue economy as a significant accelerator for the continent's quest for economic transformation and sustainable development. Time now, ladies and gentlemen, to hear from the African Union Commission. Let us greet its regional delegate, Dr. Auguste Ngomo. Doctor, please.
Your Excellence, lorsque j'ai reçu mes cours de diplomatie, on m'a dit qu'il fallait toujours commencer les discours du plus simple au plus compliqué. Je me suis entraîné toutes les 3 dernières semaines à préparer ce discours et ce matin, quand on m'a présenté votre nom, je me suis dit je vais commencer par le plus compliqué pour arriver au plus simple. Donc excusez-moi si j'écorne un peu votre nom. Honorable Setana Luchbe Naraidu, Minister of External Affairs from Mauritius, Special Guest of Honor and Keynote Speaker. Over Honorable Minister present, the Financial Secretary, Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Mr. Maraj, Permanent Secretary and Senior Official of Government present, Professor Said Adejimubi, Regional Director for Southern Africa, Your Excellency, Ambassador and member of the Diplomatic Corps, the representative from SADC and COMESA, representative of the private sector, civil society, academia, and research institution, member of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Bonjour. Allow me to add my word of welcome to all of you to this 24th Inter-Governmental Committee of Experts, ICE, of Southern Africa, organized by ECA Sub-Regional Office for Southern Africa. It gives me a great pleasure and honor to address you at this opening session on behalf of the African Union Commission Chairperson, His Excellency Moussa Fakir Mahamat. I would like to express my appreciation to the ECA for the ongoing technical support and collaboration and for the invitation to participate in this annual meeting of Member States of Southern Africa. Let me express also my deep appreciation to the government of Mauritius for the excellent hospitality and facility being made available to us. We thus remain forever grateful for the excellent Africa hospitality. Distinguished delegates, annually, the ICE provides a platform for dialogue and engagement among member state senior policymakers, regional economic community, regional and international organizations, academia, professional organizations, and civil society on pertinent regional development issues. Allow me, therefore, on the outset, to commend the ECA for continuing to provide such an invaluable platform and for continuing to remind us on the importance of the blue economy. You will all concur that ICE provides an opportunity for our region to think through collectively and creatively on strategy and program for regional transformation. The technical support from ECA office in Southern Africa remains an anchor for our development effort in the region. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the topic of this week's meetings is very important and crucial for the future of our continent. The subject selected by ECA, blue economy, inclusive industrialization and economic development in Southern Africa, is not only made at the right time, but it's also at the opportune time. No matter what technical or scientific word we are used to describe our Africa economy, we can agree that our economy is still based on harvesting and selling raw materials. Some countries are doing well, such as Botswana with diamond, Angola with oil, Zambia with copper, and I can't mention other countries. But it is important to note that these successes are intrinsically limited. The growth of our state will have an end, and if not well prepared, this end will be painful and catastrophic. The end of our business model, harvesting and selling raw products, is certain. We just cannot fix the time. This end is certain simply because the quantity of raw material is limited. Some countries start already to feel the impact of scarcity of their raw material. As a way forward, some experts have proposed that we, like other countries, we should quickly industrialize and make our first revolution, then the second and the third. Some other more ambitious experts even have proposed that we jump directly to the fourth revolution, forgetting that as a construction of a house having several floors, each revolution has served as a solid step to the next one. We can be inspired by other nations and regions, learn and acquire experience from them, but Africa must focus on its own path, on its own strengths and realities. Our evolution toward blue economy is an ambitious but achievable adventure. It moves us from economy of harvest from limited resources to an economy of harvesting unlimited resources if we organize ourselves well. With the exploitation of unlimited resources come also sustainable financial means. But to approach this revolution, we must completely change our perspective. The blue economy upsets our perspective geography. The size of the Africa continent is not longer 13 million square kilometers, but closer to 15 million square kilometers. However, our 4 island states that often mistakenly consider themselves small states must discover they are giants in this new world. We must prepare together and solidarity for real change. We all know it, even though we have trouble putting it into action. We should really understand that it is through our solidarity, our union, that our strength, our common prosperity, international respect, and economic development will be born. The ancient and present history of our continent show us that centralist nationalist evolution is also limited and always play into the hand of force outside the continent. We have a common vision, common plan, common direction. We still need to reinforce our real will and desire to actually put them into practice. And this desire is called the spirit of Pan-Africanism. Honorable Minister, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is important to take note that the blue economy really opened the door for industrialization and economic development. Like the role played by charcoal and steam engine for the first revolution, or oil and electricity for the second, the exploitation of the ocean potentiality can lead our economy to revolution. The potential of ocean, lake, river is unlimited. From the industrialization of the future ocean aqua farming, from fish or seafood production, to the exploration of the closer and deeper ocean. From the reinforcement of our ports to the development of regional and continental maritime transport to link our ports for the Africa intra-trade. From the tourism, cruise, luxury tourism, to the conservation of our aquatic biodiversity for the benefit, not only from the continent, but also for the world, for a vibrant pharmaceutical, chemical, and cosmetic industry. What we can do with blue economy is endless. Honorable Minister, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, with your permission, I will focus my attention briefly on the Africa we want as articulated to Agenda 2063 and its 10 years implementation plan. The vision, our dream for Agenda 2063 is the Africa we want, is an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in international arena. If you add democracy, good governance, and strong cultural identity, we have the 7 key aspirations of Agenda 2063. Agenda 2063 and its 10 years implementation plan is fully aligned with UN SDG, ADB 5I priorities, and Africa Integrated Maritime Strategy. For the first time of our history, we have a common development agenda, and all our programs are aligned. African Union considers the blue economy as a real opportunity for our present and future development. This is why this topic is highly present in Agenda 2063. Our vision for what we want to achieve with our blue economy is well known. For African Union, the blue economy is a new frontier of Africa Renaissance. Through aspiration number 1, Prosperous Africa, member states have decided to approve and to implement the goal number 6 and 7. With the goal 6, we are advocating for the usage of the ocean blue economy to accelerate economic growth. And concerning the goal number 7, environmental sustainable climate resilience, economy and community, the African member states have decided, 1, to protect and promote biodiversity, conservation and sustainable natural resource management, 2, to implement water security plan for the current and future generation, 3, to work on climate resilience and natural disaster and preparedness, and finally, to develop and promote renewable energy. All these programs on blue economy illustrate our strong desire for transformation and should be embraced at a national and regional level if we want to materialize Agenda 2063. Honorable Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have a clear vision, clear plan of this blue economy, but to translate this vision in hope of success and a direction to be taken by all of us, we need a group of leaders. Naturally, our island member states like Comoros, Madagascar, Mauritius, or Seychelles can lead the entire continent. Because in the context of the blue economy, geographically, these two last countries, Seychelles and Mauritius, for example, cease to be small continental states, but Africa giant countries. I'll give you an example. The size of Mauritius, 1,065 kilometers square. When you talk of blue, Mauritius will be 1.9 million kilometers square. More than lowland like Chad, Niger, Mali, Ethiopia, Zambia, South Sudan. Same new reality for Seychelles. Let us remind ourselves that it's just United Kingdom who started the first revolution, and it was adopted by all Western countries. The second revolution was just initiated by USA and Germany, and it was expanded to other nations. And the third revolution started in America and Japan, and it was ramified. We don't need the whole continent and the whole region to move at the same time. We need a group of leaders to show us the direction and to guide all of us. And having 50% of SADC member states fully connected with ocean, this region can really be the leader of the continent on industrial revolution that the blue economy can bring to us. Honorable Minister, distinguished experts, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, let me re-emphasize that the Agenda 2063, to become a reality, the member state and the regional economic community have a vital and capital role to play as implementing bodies. Without your commitment and your engagement to make this happen, our dream for the Africa Renaissance will remain a dream. African Union is confident that the deliberation of this session of the ICE will provide additional and pertinent direction for the development and for the implementation of strategy and roadmap to seize the opportunity offered by the blue economy. We all know the vast opportunity offered by the blue economy and how this new area of development can really boost our industrialization and our economy. With all our current challenge at national, regional, and continental level, we cannot afford another missed development opportunity. Hence, the need to domesticate and implement systematically our common decision and development frameworks. Our final success depends strongly on our real desire to work together. And let us always remind ourselves that in this world, nations try always to group themselves with the objective to be stronger, independent, influential, and be able to protect their interests. USA is a grouping of states. European Union is a grouping of states. Brazil is a federation. Africa can really make the difference if we decide to come as one. I wish you fruitful deliberation, and thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you. Merci, Dr. Ngomo. I would have introduced you in French if I had known. Thank you very much. Ever since he integrated the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and International Trade, our keynote speaker has spared no effort to make of economic diplomacy his forte. A true master in the field, he has crafted piece by piece a network of African, Asian, and European partners around our island, leaving no stone unturned to make of international trade his realpolitik, with a degree of success unsurpassed by any of his predecessors. As Mauritius is about to accede to the chair of the IC-UNECA Commission, his drive and initiatives will without a doubt show the way forward as he opens the way toward more inclusiveness and integration within the Southern African region and beyond. He was certainly amongst the very few and first to show us that a blue economy approach centered on regional integration and cooperation has the potential to significantly contribute to economic transformation and industrialization efforts in Southern Africa and help support countries on the path to their sustainable development. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I now have the honor to call upon the Honorable Vishnu Lakshmi Naidu to take the stand for his keynote speech. Honorable Minister, please.
Thank you. Colleague ministers who are present here, distinguished representative of UNECA, of IC, of the AU Commission here, representatives of SADC, of COMESA, and distinguished guests who are here. I would love, in the name of the Prime Minister and the government of Mauritius, to welcome you to this small country. Small country because when we compare ourselves to the continent, we are small, but we are also small with a big heart. So know that we are extremely honored to have each of you here. I know each of you here, in fact, your country. So the subject today is quite a tough one, I must say. How to combine the ocean economy with inclusive growth and industrialization, and including with those two issues also the concept of participation of SMEs in the development process. So I will try to share with you experience. I don't want to be bookish today. I want to share with you my experience when it comes to the ocean economy, when it comes to inclusive industrialization, and when it comes also to SMEs. We have a mission, and this is where I'll start. We have a mission as a continent. We are 55 countries forming part of the AU. 55, out of which there are 7, what I would call island states. Most of them are in this part of the world, and the Indian Ocean Commission grouped 5 of them. And we have also Sao Tome in the west, Cape Verde, and another country, I've forgotten. We are the islands forming part of this continent. So we have to be conscious of one thing, that this continent is the only area today, the only continent which no one can ignore. In fact, we have been ignored for so long, colonized for so long, abruptly colonized, that we have come to the conclusion that probably Africa is not for tomorrow, and that the continent will have to wait for millennium to emerge. This is not true. In fact, what I'm telling you today is that the world is changing, geopolitics is changing. No one can ignore China, no one can ignore India, and no one can ignore this continent where we are, and this region. Not only because we have the youngest population continent-wise, but we have also a vast level, a vast reserve of natural products and minerals, whatever you call it, huge resources. So this is where we stand. That's number one. Number two, how to talk to a continent, to people who have been used to being colonized, victimized, abused. And how do you get this continent to emerge as one continent, as nearly one nation, if we stay in this mentality of having been victims of colonizations, victims of economic rape, How can we emerge if we are, in fact, in the position of someone who is a victim? You will have to think about it, each of you here. If we want to emerge as a powerful continent this next century, then we have to behave not as victims, but as builders of tomorrow. And each of you here is a builder. This is what is my message today. If we develop this attitude that we can do it, that we have the resources to do it, and that the learning process will not be that long this time, then we can emerge. Because the whole concept of economic growth, sharing of growth, development can only come if at political level, political leaders send the right message. And the right message is that we can do it. We can stand on our own feet. That South-South cooperation is a reality. That we can work together in a win-win situation, in the total respect of the other. This is what we can do. And small Mauritius, as we are small, we are also highly multiracial, multilingual, and we have learned to move from an island that was condemned to be a non-state, to be a failed state. That was 1968. And the professionals, economists who came to Mauritius, Nobel Prize winners, said this country is dead after independence. This is Mauritius. So we were given up as being a dead state before independence. And my message to you today, that not only we survived, but we made it through. We survived because we had no one on whom to rely on to survive. So we had to learn the hard way of working hard, of saving hard, of discipline and hard work. We learned it. And I think the whole nation in Mauritius, the whole nation is, for me, this nation needs the tribute of a small country, diversified nation, and that made it through. We started with sugarcane. In fact, each cyclone that came to Mauritius destroyed the economy. That was 1968. One crop economy. We moved from there and slowly moved into tourism, slowly moved into what we call EPZ, Export Processing Zone, which is industrial production for export. Then we said at one time, why can't we become a financial center? And we became one. So we have diversified in a big way. And we reached in 2014, we reached what we all call the crossroad. Crossroad is something that either you make it or you don't make it. If you make it, you can survive. If you don't make it, you will just stay where you are. The crossroad for us and for many of our countries here is that when you reach the middle income group level, you are neither too poor nor too rich to get finance, to get grants, to get aid. And you can't jumpstart this process without increasing your growth in a big way. And we knew it, that in spite of the wide diversification of the economy, we still needed to push up growth to 5 to 6 to 7%. So in 2014, we reinvented the whole economy. We said, let what is, but let us see how we can increase our development, expand, and reach this level of growth to become a high-income country. And that was the magic of it. Because this country is used to being a small, a pebble in the ocean. You see, we are small, less than 2,000 square kilometers. And our whole strategy since independence has been using this pebble to develop. Whether it is sugar, whether it is tourism, whether it is the financial sector, whether it is the EPZ, it's always this rock that was used for our expansion. And we had to move beyond it. And that was the message of 2014. A new strategy based on new pillars where we say we are no longer a pebble, but we are an ocean state. And I mean it, ocean state, not a country. An ocean state means that in spite of the fact that we are very small, we control a maritime zone of 2.3 million square kilometers. That's a continent. That's Mauritius. And if we combine now the IOC countries, which I chaired until last week, we have a total of nearly 10 million square kilometers of water, which means, therefore, that our destiny is the ocean. We've always known it, but we never did anything. Then we said the new pillars, 3 new pillars. 1 is the ocean economy, the blue economy. Number 2, you can't connect. You can't develop and expand if there's no connectivity, especially by sea. So we said, let us have ocean economy, a maritime hub that can have a fishing quay that can receive 20 fishing vessels at all time, and that can also allow us to produce in the port franc, in the free port, produce canned food, canned seafood. And the third pillar of this strategy is us. We said Africa is the next and most important strategy for our own survival. At that time, some colleagues of mine said, you might be going too far because Africa is not for tomorrow. Some people might be right. But then looking down the future, I think that in 2014 we made the right decision. And I come therefore to the second aspect of what we're doing, which will mix with the ocean economy that you are all here for. Ocean economy, industrialization based on the ocean, and also SMEs, development. When it comes to the Africa strategy, I don't like the word strategy. When I speak of Africa, I say, how can we, 55 countries working together, how can we develop a strategy where it is South-South cooperation? Where it is a South-South cooperation and a win-win situation. No one will survive on this continent if each one stands on its own and behave as if we are independent, autonomous. We have to accept that there is an integrated relationship between all of us. Therefore, when we speak of the continent, we speak of sharing what we know the best. We speak of South-South cooperation, win-win cooperation, and number 3, some people don't understand me on this, respect. We want to be respected. A country, a continent that has been crushed, abused, need one thing in return. Our resources are not here for sale to the best bidder. We want respect. And this is the basis on which we've been developing the whole concept of working together, sharing together what we know the best, and survive in the best way possible, in which case, in the next century, Africa will be a center of power by itself, economic and political. This is our ambition for the future. Whether it be SADC, whether it be COMESA, whether it be the EAC, whether it be the new Continental Free Trade Area, which we've signed recently in Rwanda, we see only one clear message there. The AU 2060 agenda is something which goes well beyond people can dream of. And when a continent like Africa says, if Europe did it through the Treaty of Rome, why can't we do it? Why can't we unite and become one? And this is where we signed a few months back the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. We signed it because we believe that this will happen one day. And we are also signing Mauritius the huge, because before having this continental FTA, we are working on one which is for our region. And this implies what? That the SADC that COMESA and that the EAC join together and we become what we call the trilateral agreement for a free trade area for this zone. 650 million consumers. That's what we are. And we all here form part of this huge part of this continent, more than 50%. So when we speak of the ocean economy, we have to see how and in which way countries, islands, naturally we are, I am sorry to say it, but our destiny is the ocean. Without ocean, we don't survive. But the ocean at the same time, you know, is something so fragile that you can't afford not to respect, not to recognize that when we speak of ocean economy, that's beautiful, but we have to realize one thing, and SDG 14 says it: sustainable use of maritime resources. Which means, therefore, that whatever strategy we develop in terms of ocean economy, it has got to be based strongly on this sustainable use of ocean resources. And if you find me getting nervous at times when we are trying to save the ocean, to save the resources of the ocean, this same ocean is being pilfered by foreign countries. I say countries, not shipping companies. Because many countries are closing their eyes and are allowing their vessels to come in this region and to pilfer. Real pirates. And they are destroying not only our stock of seafood, but they are also destroying the ecosystem. You should be aware of it. That SDG 14 can only apply if we stop this business of IUU, of vessels coming in our region, fishing and disappearing. And rightly so, because how can you control 10 million square kilometers of water? It's nearly impossible. In fact, recently, we set up in Madagascar a fusion center for dissemination of information on the ocean, knowing which boat, which vessel is where and doing what. And we've set up in Seychelles an operational center, which means what it means. A center that will operate. One will identify in Madagascar, the other one will operate and stop this business of pilferage. We are being helped in the process by the Eastern African countries, mostly Kenya is very close to us, Mozambique, South Africa. So we are gradually moving towards a strategy for the ocean that is based on the respect of this ocean. And President Kenyatta, a few months back, decided to have an ocean conference, a huge ocean conference in Kenya in November. All this augurs well for what we call the ocean economy. Number one, I said it, sustainable use of the ocean. Number two, protection of the marine ecosystem. Is there anyone here who wants to leave for your children to come a dirty ocean, a pilfered ocean, a destroyed ocean, an ocean where there's no life? We all want to preserve what has been given by our fathers and by the Lord. And the protection of the ecosystem has become so important that you won't believe it. The level of pollution, the level of plastic in our ocean, the level of damage to the environment is such that we will have now to work on disaster management. So based on those two principles, one, protect the ecosystem, and two, sustainable use of ocean resources, I say now we can start speaking of how we can use the produce of the sea to develop, to grow, to create employment for our people. And this is probably the most challenging part of it. Because the ocean economy implies not only what we call protection of the ocean and use of the ocean, but there is also something where we don't have the means. You must have remarked one thing, that the SADC has worked out a maritime security paper of huge importance. The 2016 AU paper also on the ocean economy from AU is also very important. And small Mauritius, in April of this year, the Indian Ocean Commission plus Mauritius government, we organized a Maritime Security Conference here that assembled some 250 countries and major organizations. A huge event. Which means what? It means that people, countries are aware that our ocean is rich. That the zone where we are is a powerful region for development. And the maritime security, I see the Secretary General of the IOC who is just in front of me, and he knows the huge organization he put into the organizing of the Maritime Security Conference in April. And we have decided last week to have a regular annual Maritime Security Conference and participate fully also in all ocean development. And my colleague who is here, my colleague minister who is here, is probably one of the few countries in this region where we have a minister for ocean. That's him there, and I welcome him in our group. And I know the huge work that he's doing presently to ensure that the ocean economy becomes a reality for all of us. As I tell you, we have to be practical. We can't clean the ocean, we don't have the resources. We need at least 10 COP24 and 20 Green Climate Fund to allow just us in our region to clean this ocean. We are speaking of multi-billion dollar of investment just to ensure the equilibrium of the marine ecosystem. We don't have those funds. When it comes now to sustainable use of ocean resources, we are speaking here again of access to investment. It makes no use for us here to meet together to speak of ocean economy if we don't have a penny in our pocket to do it. Therefore, it is quite holistic. The approach should be holistic for each of your country. Whether you are landlocked or whether you have a frontage on the sea, wherever you are, I think we need to be conscious that we are speaking of massive investment. It's getting nervous. I'll give you one example. When we decided here to give priority to the blue economy, we said, let us build one fishing quay. You can't speak of fisheries, of fishing industry if you don't have a quay. We don't have it. So we have to be conscious that at times we speak big, and at times we don't have means of doing it. We need a quay of 1.2 kilometers into the sea that can host at least 20 fishing vessels that are fishing around. And we need those vessels to come to Mauritius. We need them to unload their catch here and not to disappear. Because we want the catch to be disembarked in Mauritius, transferred to the free port for canning and export. We call it the value chain. You call it regional value chain, oceanic value chain, whatever it is. We need this. And 4 years have gone. 4 years have gone, we still don't have the fishing quay. So somewhere I have to plead guilty when I say that we take decisions, we announce them, and then things don't move that fast. If you want to go now in terms of developing a canning industry that can can and re-export the produce of the sea, it's again multi-billion dollars of investment. And if you want a fishing fleet, even if you speak of 5 fishing vessels, it's substantial investment. So I would tell my colleagues here that when we are discussing in the next few days on the issue of the ocean economy, let us approach it in a holistic way. Holistic not only in terms of protection and use of ocean, but also holistic when it comes to financing, when it comes to training of people. My colleague, Minister of Ocean, is doing a huge job training fishermen. It looks easy. I'll share with you one thing. Mauritians don't like to go on board and fish. They don't like it. We have no fishing industry. And that's the truth. We have 2.3 million square kilometers of water. We don't even have a fishing company that can call itself a fishing company that can produce enough for us. We don't even have a fishing port. So if this is happening in Mauritius, I think it is happening in all our countries here. That we are speaking big, and that when it comes to results, we say, sorry, we promise in the next 2 years, let us now change to 20. We can't govern and get people just to live in dreams. Dreams have got somewhere to turn into reality. And that's where probably you will have to work hard on it to see what are the institutions that exist that can finance the ocean economy development in your part of the world. Whether it be Angola, whether it be South Africa, whether it be Kenya, Mozambique, Madagascar, you call it. That's for me an important challenge. Training. Why speak of ocean economy? In Mauritius, you know, most of our fish is being fished by foreign companies. Something is wrong somewhere. We are Mauritians. We want a fishing industry. We want to have vessels that go out fishing on the bank, but no one wants to go on the bank. Again, education and training. So when you look at the whole panoply of indicators that need to move into green when it comes to the blue economy, we have to bear in mind that this is possible, but we also must mean business in the process. Each country, from Angola, Botswana, you call it, each country would need to deal with this issue in a way which is rational and which makes sense. Now, ocean economy linked to industrialization, to inclusive growth, I flow with it. We do it in Mauritius. We try to do it. We try to ensure that not only a few huge conglomerates control the economy. So we encourage a lot SMEs to merge into the system. When we speak of the ocean, fishing, two aspects. One, deep sea fishing, and one, aquaculture. People don't talk of aquaculture. But the world is moving towards a period when probably in the next few years, some 70% of consumption of fish will be produced through aquaculture, managed production of fish. So there also you need investment. But if you combine both together, I think personally that we can in fact develop an industry that can feed the people, that can allow for growth and development also. SMEs naturally have their role at all levels, whether it be in terms of fishing, whether it be in terms of business in the port linked to handling, to cargo handling of seafood, or whether it is linked also to the canning industry, which is based on what you catch. Don't think that I am pessimistic, I am not. If you want to find someone optimistic in the country, in the government also, we are a few like this. We believe in the future. We believe in this country. We believe in this continent. We believe that we can make the future. We can invent the future. I believe in it. I believe that a dream can be a dream and stay a dream, but it can also be a dream where the critical mass is reached, where suddenly the dream becomes reality. You can do it here. Each of you can do it. And probably the dream we have, Excellencies, is that we manage this. That when we are setting up the Africa Free Trade Area, Continental Free Trade Area, or whether it be the trilateral FTA with COMESA, SADC, and the EAC, we bear all this in mind. We bear one thing in mind, and I want to conclude on this. Believe in yourself. You know, we've been so damn mistreated. We've been so damn brought to think that we can't do anything by ourselves, that we need to import from Europe. We need to do trade with Europe. We need America. We need Asia. We've been brought up in this concept that we people in Africa, we have to import to survive, which is not true. So my message today is this: you are a representative, a diplomat, you are an ambassador of your country when you come here. And those ambassadors that you are being led by a beautiful group which is here, and I mean here about the UNECA and then the IC, and then this beautiful, I call him Said, you don't mind? That's good. The team you have here is beautiful. And I really wish that when you leave Mauritius, well, work a lot, but also play a lot. This is the country to come where you have to play also and enjoy the time here. On these words, I would declare the conference open and wish you a beautiful stay and a learned stay in Mauritius. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. We'll proceed before we break for the first coffee break this morning. I would like to call Dr. Sizo Mslanga from UNECA, because we would like to take item 2 of the agenda, which is the election of the Bureau and also the adoption of the agenda for this 24th meeting. So, Dr. Sizo, the mic is yours.
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, colleagues. I think you're all feeling very sober from the very moving statement from the Honorable Minister. Let's go on to agenda item 2, where we actually elect the Bureau for these 4 days. Can I move the Bureau the Bureau will be comprised of a chairman, a vice chairman, and also a rapporteur. Can I move for the appointment of the chairman, please? Any volunteer for the appointment of the chairman? Delegate of Eswatini?
Thank you very much. Morning, Honorable Minister. Can I move that we appoint Mauritius for chairman? Thank you.
Eswatini has proposed Mauritius. Any seconder for Mauritius? Any seconder for Mauritius? Angola, seconded. Wales. Zimbabwe, seconded. So Mauritius is appointed chair for this meeting. Mauritius, you're appointed chair. Let's move on to the vice chair. Any proposer for a vice chair for the meeting? Zambia, proposing someone?
Good morning. Zambia would like to propose the Kingdom of Eswatini. Thank you.
Zambia is proposing returning it to Eswatini. Any seconder? Angola again. So, Kingdom of Eswatini, you are appointed as vice chair for this meeting. The last one, appointment of the rapporteur for the meeting. Proposer? Was that Malawi? Malawi proposing? Oh, sorry, Lesotho is proposing?
Good morning, all. Lesotho proposes that Malawi be the rapporteur.
Any seconder? Malawi is rapporteur. Angola again, yes, seconder. Thank you. Malawi is appointed as rapporteur. So after the tea break, please, can you take your seats on the podium? I think we will now break for. Oh, you announce that. Yeah.
So thank you very much, and wish you all fruitful deliberations. We would like the top table, please, and the top table to join the delegates at the lobby for a wonderful family photograph, please. Thank you very much. And breaking now, first, we call this networking break now, so you can exchange a lot during these breaks. So coffee, tea, all on the terrace outside, and then we come back here in half an hour sharp after the photograph session, of course, for the normal deliberations to take place up to Friday. Thank you very much for your presence.